it's really great to see everyone here. It's kind of a rainy day, but we need it. So I look at it that Mother Nature does what she does, and we have to be happy with it because earlier this year it was rainy, and so she gave us an extra summer into October, and now it's rainy and we're okay. So I'm happy about that. So here we go. So again, here we are at the Simply Well Seniors Aging Well Seminar Series. I'm Jeff Turcott.
And I'm Kelly Kurtz.
And we're realtors, but we're different. Where's my clicker? Here it is. And we help seniors navigate the journey to the next place they call home. And we've been doing these seminars for 2 years now. And we appreciate everyone's support that have supported us all the way through. And we do have some sponsors that we want to give a moment and give a shout out to as well. First, our pioneer sponsor, Heywood Wakefield Commons, Christy Livingston. Christy, if you want to say a word.
Wow. I love
Trailblazer.
it. All right. Well, thank
You're the
you.
person to take a chance on us.
Well worth it. So I'm Christy Livingston from Heywood Wakefield Commons Assisted Living in Gardner. And we're an assisted living community in one section of the Heywood Wakefield Furniture Factory building, a very historic building that was converted 14 years ago. And we have 78 apartments for assisted living, and we have an affordable model. So our seniors don't have to worry about what happens if they don't have a lot of money. If their funds, if they sold their home, they move in, and that's only going to last for so long. They have the security of not having to change apartments or move out when that time comes. And we have had residents take advantage of the wonderful services of Kelly and Jeff and made it a very smooth transition. So thank you. And tours are always available. My information is in the back. So thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And also sponsored by the Gables, and Patty Peterson is here. If you'd like to say a quick little word about the Gables. Gables located in Fitchburg on John Fitch Highway.
Keyword is quick.
No.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Patty Peterson from the Gables Assisted Living in Fitchburg. You may be familiar with us. We were formerly a 55 plus. We're across the street from beautiful Coolidge Park. We are a family-owned, all-inclusive for care assisted living, but we also offer an enhanced independent. So some of the things that set us apart is we're small. We only have 47 apartments, kind of like a little family. And we have regular apartments with full galley kitchens. So we have studios all the way up to 2-bed, 2-bath. So I also have visits and tours available. It doesn't cost anything to come and look. But people should do their due diligence and definitely look around to see what's the better fit for them. And I also have information in the back. If anybody has any questions, I'll be available.
Thank you, Patty. And we've worked with Patty. We've worked with Christy, and we look forward to working with others as we continue. Another new sponsor is Michelle Morin came on board, the Lillie Mansion in Lutheran Rehab. She isn't here this morning, but we'll give her a shout out. Yay, Michelle. And then, of course, NXT Level Studios, they record these seminars every month, and we put them on YouTube, and we also share some of the smaller clips with our sponsors for their social media as well. So this is our business. For those who don't know who we are and what we do, we've been kind of toying with a couple of different analogies. We were speaking with an attorney recently, and she said, you're A to Z. Yeah. Or soup to nuts. We're that too. We're the whole thing. And someone else we met with this week said, you're the whole schmear. So whatever analogy you want to use, we help seniors when they're ready to move on from the place they've called home for a very, very long time. It might be a home that they lived in for 50 years, 40 years. And they need help from figuring out where they're going to go next to how they're going to get there, and then eventually selling the home. So that's what we help with. And we can talk a little bit more about this afterwards as well. So you might be asking, hey, Jeff and Kelly, what have you guys been up to this past month? Well, I'm glad you asked. because we've been pretty busy. We've been from one side of the state to the other. And what we've been finding is that I don't care if your home is in Lee, Massachusetts, or downtown Boston. If you've lived there a very, very long time, there's stuff. There's accumulation of things. And a couple of families that we've been working with recently is they had a relative. In one situation, is his mom. Another situation is an aunt that lived in the home for a very long time, and they've recently passed. Now it's their responsibility to do with what has to be dealt with. In one person's will, she identified the tangible personal property. Everything in the closets, everything in the dressers, everything in the cabinets, the tangible personal property, it needs to be distributed. Okay. All right. So let's start with that.
So we've got the task of inventorying a huge house with all this stuff. Pieces of jewelry, artwork. A lot of it looks insignificant, but as we know, as you go through things, you have things that may look insignificant, but they have sentimental value to somebody. So we have to be very careful about, as we're going through, not just throwing things out, that we have to really inventory things. So it is a daunting task. We're going to talk a lot about that during our seminar, but good idea not to leave it all for your family because they don't know what to do with it. They live out of state, and now they have a lot of stuff to deal with. And as people age and they've lived in their house a long time, their kids are now 60 and 70 years old. So now they're trying to deal with cleaning out your stuff if you live to 90 or 100, and it gets harder and harder as everybody ages to have to do this on nights and weekends and figure it out. So
yeah, that was the point I was trying to make, is that as we age, our children are also aging as well, and as we live longer, the children, it's not like, oh, my kids will take care of it because they're in their 40s. No, when you're 90, your kids are in their late 60s, sometimes in their 70s. That's what we're finding. So it relying on the grandkids, maybe. I don't know. They don't want to be in there doing it as well. But that's what we've been finding. The common theme, like I said, if you're in downtown Boston or if you're in Western Mass, it's all the same. It's all the same. Everyone seems to kind of come to this at the end. So, but we brought the whiteboard out this time because we wanted to ask some questions. If anybody has anything specific that they want to talk about, I heard you talk about how long to keep documents. So we can touch on that a little bit, and what type of documents, like tax returns and I see. Okay, birth certificates, statements, bank statements, those kinds of things. Okay.
yeah, we all have a lot of paperwork, and I think older generations, and ourselves included, we keep a lot of paperwork. Younger generations keep everything on their phone, or their computer. They don't store anything or print anything, but we have lots of stuff, and then you don't want to just throw it in the rubbish.
Right.
You're worried about identity theft and all of that. So we will talk about that. What else are people struggling with in terms of downsizing and decluttering that maybe you hope to learn today, or you're thinking about, you have a problem with some set of stuff at home that you're trying to figure out? Does anyone have anything? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. So the comment was not thinking that all of this has to fall on your shoulders as the person sitting here at the seminar. So there is help. This is our business too, but we have other resources. If you want something done or downsized or decluttered, there are lots of people and businesses that can offer that service. They just need your direction as to what exactly you're trying to get rid of, and then figure out the best way to do that. So it's really the physical energy it takes to do it, and the mental energy sometimes to sort through things.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, we try to rehome things, but you'll notice more and more as you're driving around, you'll see trash on the side of the road, a mattress on the side of the road, paint cans, tires. People have no way to get rid of things, or it costs money to do TVs and things. So people tend to dump things, which is really a problem now. Or if you drive by those yellow bins everywhere and you'll see someone dropped a couch off that's all chewed up or something, or there's bags of stuff all over the ground and trash. And we always say, oh, we hope people would stop that, because we use those yellow bins a lot. And if they start taking them away because people can't be responsible, then we'll be like, darn, we love dropping bags off there, but you have to be able to put the things inside. I mean, then you just leave your mess for someone else to clean up. And that's really frustrating when we see that people do that, but it happens.
It does. So let's talk a little bit about just level set here. Declutter versus downsize. So declutter is the activity of removing things you do not need from a place in order to make it more pleasant and more useful. So it's just not having as much stuff as you around, just declutter. Downsize, this is more what we're talking about, the practice of moving to a smaller home, usually because your home has become too large for you or a way to save money. So downsize, I kind of chuckle. We're working with a family right now, and they're moving from their 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house, and they're moving into they're going to downsize, and they're moving into another 4-bedroom, 2,200 square foot house. And they're taking everything with them.
Yeah.
You kind of missed the point, but
yeah. They're moving out of state. So that's the downsize, but
right.
Yeah, it's still packing everything. And they are starting to realize, when they got the quote from the mover, which was over $10,000 to move their stuff, that the weight of some of the things they have, maybe we shouldn't take 5 grills and a giant gun safe that weighs 1,000 pounds. So yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face when you look logistically how much it's going to cost to get rid of the stuff that you accumulate. So
here's a couple of examples of accumulations. That's a really great collection of things. This reminds me of a bedroom of one of my children. And I'm not sure if you have friends that have a kitchen like that, but everything, there's only 4 burners on the stove. I mean, how many pots and pans you need, really? But that's an example of there's just not enough space for things, and so it's in and out. You have a limited amount of space, and you have too much stuff. So either you need more space or you need less stuff.
And just safety, from a safety perspective, if you had a kitchen like that, it would be so easy for something, you turn the burner on to catch on fire, and not even be able to really locate where the fire's coming from, because there's so much stuff. Trip hazards, fall hazard of trying to bend forward to find something, and you get lightheaded, you lose your balance, and you can fall and get wedged in between something in there. So it's just clear pathways. And even if you did have to call emergency 911 for help, if you were even had your phone with you, for them to even get in the house and get to you, it takes time to clear through all this stuff. So it's something to really keep in mind.
Okay, so let's talk about some strategies to prevent clutter. And I joke a little bit because my lovely wife Kelly, everything has a place and everything is in that place, and I love her for that, and because I'm not always like that. But if I go home this afternoon and my raincoat winds up on the chair of the dining room table, I'll get to it. No, but the raincoat goes in the closet. Okay. So the first time she'll put it in the closet. The second time she's not going to put it in the closet. It's going to go someplace where I can't find it next time.
Oh, he's making jokes. That's not true. But it is true. If you get in the habit of putting things away, the problem we find with folks is if you have too much stuff and there's nowhere to put it away, that's when the clutter accumulates. Because if you had a nice space in the closet to put it, you probably would hang it up. But when your closet's overflowing, or you open it up and there's all stuff on the floor and you can't get to the empty hanger that's way at this end, you tend to leave it on the dining room chair because you can't get to it. So it's
put things away. It's a simple thing, but when you're organized and things have a place to go, then put that where it goes. This is a big one. Toss disposable food containers, boxes, packages, mail advertisements, etc. I'm sure if I ask for a show of hands, probably half the people in this room are waiting for an Amazon package right this very second. And it might actually be on your porch right now. And there's a box.
Yeah. We find mostly folks, and myself included, although we don't really have too much plastic at our house, but a lot of people save the Cool Whip containers or the margarine tubs. And when you open up the closet, when we go into people's kitchens, I mean, the stuff just falls out, or there's no lids for half of the stuff. So because we learned that stuff was reusable, you wouldn't want to just throw it in the landfill. You could reuse it, but you end up accumulating every time you go through a tub of margarine or whatever you would use, Cool Whip. You would save it in all the plastic containers, or you get takeout in a plastic to-go container, and you can still rinse it out and reuse it, so you save it. So then those start piling up. And the other thing we see a ton of is the plastic bags from the grocery store. I mean, closets full of them jammed in there. And we always think, yeah, keep a handful or a sleeve with some of them in them, but we see thousands of them. And it's so much.
You don't need
stuff.
that many.
You don't need that many.
Let them go. Let them go. So.
You will never use that many bags, I promise.
This is a great one, and I'm guilty of this. Complete projects in and around the house before moving on to the next one. That's kind of simple, you think, but some of us might be a little ADD, and I'll just move on to the next thing. I'll get to that. So I'll never finish anything. But I've been trying over the past couple of years, because you can't make more time. So time is precious. If I'm going to spend my weekend on a project, I want that project done by Sunday night, because I don't want to trip on everything on Monday morning, or I'm going to set an amount of time that I'm going to do that. And then I'm not tripping over tools or have the chop saw set up in the kitchen for the next week and a half.
Or it's kind of like laundry. If you iron a lot, and my sister's here from Maine, so I'll pick on her for a minute. She irons everything, and I iron nothing. So she always borrows my iron when she comes. It's the only time a year it gets used. But if you have an ironing pile out and you just leave it out all the time, it can tend to just be a clutter thing, because you may not, you never get to the bottom of the basket. So trying to just do a little bit at a time, and then put your things away as you're using them.
Examine your shopping habits. Costco and BJ's, those are great places. They're fantastic. But think about that. If you're having to have help loading whatever it is that you bought in bulk into your trunk, and then you get home, is that help coming with you to get it out of the trunk? Or is there someone at home that can help with that? There's some deals that you can have, but I mean, how many paper towels do you need at one time?
Well, we do find too that sometimes getting to you're not going as often as you get older. So sometimes you'll buy extra so you don't have to go every week if you don't have the opportunity. But we also see a lot of times with not enough storage is people will store things on their stairs, either their cellar stairs or their stairs going upstairs. So we've got cases of water that might be on the floor in an entry area. And if you're busy and you're walking in, you kind of forget they're there. That's a real trip hazard. Extra laundry detergent, things on the floor that are excessive or bulk can be a problem. So just to keep that in mind, to try to buy a little ahead, but not so much that you don't have anywhere to put it.
Right. It's again, it's the space stuff balance.
Right.
If you have too much stuff, you need more space. But you wouldn't need more space if you didn't have so much stuff. So, this is easy to say. Tidy up in the evening to start each day fresh. By the end of the day, most people are, if you're like me, I don't want anything to do with anything, I'm just going to bed. But if you took a little bit of time before you hit the wall, just to tidy up. So this woman says it all. Not today, Clutter. She's just not getting it. It's not going to happen. She's going to put everything away. So we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about values and beliefs about our stuff. And the name of this seminar is the navigating the journey of letting go. And a lot of folks have a lot of things because they're just not ready to let them go. And that's normal. And that's okay. And for whatever reason, if it's sentimental or if it's, I'm going to get to that, I'm going to use that, that's going to be something I'm getting to. Those are all reasons why these things, wind up accumulating. And these are just some examples throughout the years, the radio, who listened to a radio like that in their lifetime. Yeah. Okay.
And now those are worth money. If you still had it, you say, I wish I had that, but those are long gone, most of them.
Right. And then of course, listening to music, albums on vinyl, and then 8-track tapes and cassette tapes. I actually just, I just sold a vehicle that had a cassette player in it. That's how old that car was.
But we have people, we're finding a lot of young people like the vinyl records again, so they're becoming popular. So people are hanging on to them thinking these are worth money. But then when we get a big, a closet full of albums and we try to source them to someone who might buy them, they look at the jackets of them. They're scratched. The albums themselves are scratched. They're not as valuable as you think. There may be a needle in a haystack, one or two that might be something, but we all think these are worth money. Let's hang on to them. My son wants these. My granddaughter wants them. And then nobody takes them and no one has the room to store them. So again, we have false illusions sometimes of things that are valuable because we heard somewhere that records are big and they're worth money. Don't get rid of them. But we're not finding that too often. They're usually not worth more than a couple dollars.
We've seen more people repurposing the vinyl into something else, some kind of art or, something.
Yep.
So, all right, here's some reasons why folks avoid downsizing. And you might identify with some of these. So there might be some sentimentality around the just in case items, holding on to things for future use. That extra PVC elbow that I bought for a project I got to, and then I might need that someday.
Or broken. If you had something that was broken, you got a replacement part. You kind of hang on to the parts in case you need that part again, but there's in a junk drawer, and likely you're not going to use it. But we again, because of the times when we grew up and think people were more frugal, we kept those things, and it's hard. They don't make certain things anymore, so you want to hang on to it in case you ever need it. But those are things that pile up over time that can cause clutter.
Some people might feel guilty. It might be something that was gifted to them, or it invokes a memory somehow, and if they got rid of it, then they'd feel guilty about that.
Grandmother's china, a special chair or a pillow or a blanket that somebody made, but you're not using it because it's very itchy, or it's got moth holes in it, or it's not practical because it is so old that it could disintegrate. So you're afraid to get rid of it because you feel bad about it. But mother's roller skates. Yeah, cool things. Yeah, and those are cool things that there might be a market. Somebody might want vintage roller skates, so maybe, but I know you feel bad about that. And when my daughter Kelsey was moving out of our childhood home, she was getting an apartment, and we're like, you have to finally get all your stuff or decide what you want. And she's very sentimental, so we thought it was going to be harder for her, but she really came in and she took her phone and the things that were really important, like awards or trophies she had won, she took a picture of it and then she just put it in the bag, and she's like, you know what, this was a great memory. I've got it on my phone if I want to ever look back. She said I probably won't, but she didn't need to keep everything, and she realized that the stuff wasn't as important as having the memory. So pictures is a good way to take a picture of it, so that you can always go back if you're feeling nostalgic and look at it, but you don't have to physically keep all the stuff.
I think we're going to migrate over here. Maybe people can see the screen better. From that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, it could be overwhelming. And that's what we're finding with some folks that we've been meeting with recently. We said that they're, family members now the job is theirs to, deal with this estate. And they're overwhelmed. Not only are they grieving because their loved one has passed and they're processing that, but now here's this task for them to figure out. And it can be daunting. And obviously as we get older, we don't move quite as well. There might be some mobility issues, physical limitations. Some people get stuck in this mindset. It can wait. Yeah, I'll get to that. It's a beautiful day out. We're going to go to the beach. That can stay.
Really strong supporters of, even if you're downsizing in your own home, to think about cleaning your attic, getting your attic, your basement, your garage, those things done now. Or if you're only living on one floor and you're not using the upstairs anymore, starting that process while you're still healthy, sharp-minded, and well enough to at least ask somebody to help, hire somebody to help, and get that stuff done. So the things that are currently left in your house are the things that you're really using, versus just like Jeff said, when we pass, the kids will deal with the upstairs or the basement. But it's good, and it's a very good feeling in your mind to release that clutter.
The pattern of accumulation. How does this happen? How did all this stuff wind up here? Well, we all know we come into life with nothing, and then as we get a little older, our needs get met first. When you were first married, you didn't have a brand new car, you didn't have a brand new couch. You took the leftover, the hand-me-downs. But then there's wants. Those get met next. Now I need a new couch and a new car and nicer furniture and nicer clothes. But then what happens is possessions of other family members get left behind. Your kids' things get left in the basement. Or you were young enough to clean out your parents' place and you brought their things to your place as well. And the relocation of belongings occurs, and then storage units get filled up and never emptied. That's kind of the pattern there. So you can see, as this graph is showing that, birth, college, marriage, middle age, peak accumulation, middle age. But then as you get beyond that, empty nest, downsize 1, downsize 2, and then finally we go home. It gets harder and harder to deal with the accumulations as time goes on. It's not, if you have awful lot of things that you need to, dispose of, it's easy when you're in college or when you're first married. You have all the energy and all the resources to do that. But as you get older and the accumulation grows, it just becomes a huge task and daunting, and places don't take things like they used to anymore.
Yeah, we find a lot of people that one house we just went to on Monday, she said, I'm looking for my grandmother's wedding dress in the attic if you find it. And I wore it as my wedding dress too. But when we went up to the attic, it's the temperature is awful up there. It's so hot. Everything's brittle. The boxes are disintegrating. There's mouse poop everywhere. So if you have special things, you think that they're up there being stored, but most of the time they need to be thrown out. Maybe a piece salvaged to turn into a framed piece on the wall, or make it into a pillow or something with a section of it. But things that you think you're storing that you want to keep shouldn't be stored in really climate controlled areas. So another reason to think, if you're going to pass something like that on to your granddaughter or to somebody, to pass things on while you're living, while they can still enjoy it. And you can get the sense if they don't really want it, you'll know when you say, I have my dress for you. And they go, oh, okay, no, I'll get it later. Like, they don't want it. And then you have to give them permission to say, it's okay if you don't want it. I'd love to offer it to you, but if you don't, then you know that. And you're not saving it for them so that they'll throw it in the dumpster. So then they're going to feel guilty. So it's a whole vicious cycle. So it's better to start gifting things. My grandmother did that all the time. She would give us things while she was still living that she wanted us to have. And she got joy in watching us use it. So that's just something to think about now. Not to everybody wait till you die, till the will comes out, and then you find out you're getting the china that you don't want because it doesn't go in the microwave. It can't be in the dishwasher, and you're never going to use it because you don't have the storage for a set of plates that can use once that have to be hand washed. So it's tough, really.
So we went over what the pattern of accumulation is, but then you get to a point where you really start thinking, I need to get rid of some of these belongings. You start thinking about it because you just can't take care of all the stuff anymore. And maybe it's creating an unsafe living situation. And you must let go of the things that you no longer need. And what to let go of, who wants it, how to execute that. Ultimately, if you don't, others are going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to deal with this stuff. And so much so that we've actually made a business out of it.
And we see a lot of family members that are happy to do it, but it takes them a long time because every single thing is mental. And we've seen other family members that are angry about it and but they're spending every weekend or every free minute trying to get this house cleaned out so that they can sell it because now the property taxes are coming due again. And sometimes I just picture the analogy if you go to a food court, say at the mall. I don't know how many people do that anymore, but when you go up to the table and the people that just left their tray there and all their dirty stuff and they didn't clean it up. That's what it feels like to a lot of these children that are coming to pick up your mess, so to speak. And if you haven't done a good job of trying to at least downsize, it feels like a mess and it feels overwhelming. And so we're seeing that side of those kids that are angry and that are, or just overwhelmed, even if they're not angry, but they don't know what to do. So they call us and we try to help. But right. It's a project for everybody because they've got their own house to worry about. And now they've got another set of stuff.
Now, we're not saying that it's all junk. I mean, it's good stuff.
Right.
It's good stuff. And, we're just saying that releasing the good stuff and deciding that it no longer serves you, or you're gonna be much lighter without this. So it's emotional. It can be very, very emotional. So this is great. One day, son, this will all be yours. The jam-packed garage or storage unit with, I could use that tire though, probably, and a fridge that doesn't work, and
mouse nest that's in all of that.
That's right. We've seen it, right? So is a stat for you. 33% of Americans use self-storage, with 18% planning to rent a unit in the future. So, a third of the population is already renting one, and another almost 20% they're looking to it to get it. Here's the funny part though. Millennials make up only 25% of all self-storage renters. Millennials don't rent self-storage units. They're not keeping it. They're traveling light. They're, if they're getting ready to get on a plane, go on vacation, they have their backpack and off they go. They're not worried about everything. They've the furniture is IKEA, and when they move from the apartment that they're in, the IKEA stuff goes in the trash, and it served its purpose. So this is a neat graphic. This the greatest generation, which were people that were World War I, World War II, all the way up to baby boomers, which a lot of folks in here fit into that category. They're currently downsizing. They have extra. They have excess. But where's all that downsizing and excess going? The Gen X generation, millennials, and Gen Z, they're recipients of these items, and a lot of these generations, they're not valuing what it is that you're looking to pass on to them. So, like Kelly said, have that conversation with them. If you're hanging on to something, thinking your grandchild, you're gonna pass it on to them, they might want it, but give it to them now if they do, and have the joy of that. But have a conversation with them.
I know, back to the dishes again. The china. Sometimes, just if they don't want the whole set, they might remember your special plates or whatever. Maybe a set of 4 dessert plates, or a couple of teacups, or a few dinner plates. They might maybe break the set up between a couple grandkids if they each want a few. But mostly they don't have room for all of it. So trying to just share a little bit and let them take what they're comfortable with, and then passing the rest on either through donation, or some things end up in the trash. But we try to get, somebody can use it somewhere, but not necessarily who you think wants it.
So does this all make sense so far? You either someone that is in this, and it's not all bad news, So now now what? So that's the end of our seminar, and I hope everybody has a great day. No, we got more for you. So we just brought you all down. We depressed you. Everybody's saying, "Oh man, what am I gonna do with all this stuff? It's so much, it's so much work. Oh no!" But everybody knows this. How do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You're not gonna tackle everything all at once. You're not gonna look at it as a project that needs to get done this weekend. You're gonna take it one step at a time, and there's help out there to do that as well. So we'll talk about some strategies about this. So you need to start thinking about, where you're going next, even if that is staying in your own home, but maybe moving to one floor, or not having anything in the basement. And, this is going to be where you're going to be living.
Or if you are going to assisted living, you know that the square footage from your current home is greater than where you're going to live in assisted living. Even though there's 2-bedroom apartments, you're still going to have to downsize some stuff. Or if it's a studio apartment and you really want to downsize, so start thinking about what are your favorite pieces. If you could only fit, a handful of things, what do you really need, love, and want, and what can you let go of? And so if you think of it in terms of that, what's really most important to you, again, taking pictures of things, gifting things, but knowing, multifunctional pieces of furniture, maybe a blanket chest that can serve as also for storage is nice at the end of the bed versus just a sofa table with no drawers or anything. An ottoman for your couch that has storage in it, things like that double as a couple of different options. So trying to look at things with a different set of eyes sometimes is helpful.
Gifting items. We talked about this, gifting items to family, friends, and organizations that you're ultimately thinking that they would love it and you would have the joy of seeing them enjoying it as well. But some areas to begin in, some great classic areas to begin: the kitchen, closed closets. The bathroom kind of winds up where there's a lot of clutter as well. But those are good places to start. Again, chunking it down, not looking at the entire house as everything. And then
even sometimes one drawer, like a junk drawer or a silverware drawer, just starting with that. And when you accomplish that, you're like, okay, that was good. Give yourself 15 minutes. We used to tell clients, set the timer for 15 minutes or 20 minutes and do one thing in that time. Just focus on one area. When the time stops, you're done. Then you can only do that little bit. But most of the time people say, I kind of have some momentum, I'm going to go a little longer. But it doesn't feel as overwhelming because I only have to do 15 minutes. And if I'm done at 15, then I'm just done. So sometimes that's a nice strategy to just get started as opposed to thinking, oh my God, I got to spend the whole Saturday cleaning out my closet. Like it's a big project. Just do a section of it.
And then realizing that more help, might be needed in spaces like it's obvious, the attic, in the basement, in the garage. The home that we recently went to, there was a walk-up attic with all kinds of things in the walk-up attic. There's no rails on the stairs going up to the walk-up attic.
And you can barely see the floor. So we're kind of, as we're looking around, don't know where we're going to step through a hole that's going to fall. We're going to fall into the dining room. So you have to worry about that kind of stuff. And then it gets hot up there and you're trying to move things. And then you see the mouse poop and you're like, is the mouse still here or is he gone? And you start worrying, you still have to, and you're breathing in hot air and sometimes mold and different things. So it's better to have somebody help you with that because that's people that are professional that come and do that are strong guys that can get up and down the stairs or form a chain of passing things down versus trying to do it. Because the last thing you want to do is fall trying to clean out your attic. And now the home you're trying to downsize isn't going to be your home because you can't go back there because you broke your hip. And now you've got to go to rehab and the whole story. So you got to be smart first, always.
Okay,
safe.
We're gonna pull it back a little bit.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
Sorry. I know, but that's just what could potentially happen. We all know that, but you feel bad if you tried to do more because you didn't want to ask somebody for help. I guess that's more my point.
We mentioned him because we've seen it.
Yeah, that's why.
And that's so we want to avoid that. And there's ways to avoid it. So it's when you can see something happening and you know that it was avoidable if there were steps that were taken. That's just what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. We've fallen. Jeff's fallen walking in the backyard. I fell getting off a 2-step step stool. So, it happens to all of us when you least expect it. But
that's right. That's right. And then sort items, have, four categories: things you're going to keep, things you're going to donate, recycle, repurpose, rehome, and then things you're going to discard. That's actually 3 things, not 4.
And they don't always have to be in piles. Like if you walk around your house, I'm being an organizer, I love sticky notes and different color sticky notes. So maybe you take the pink sticky notes and you go around and put them on the furniture of the things you think you want to give to somebody. You can either put their name on it or you can just put the color. And that way you're not trying to move stuff in a pile. if somebody came to help take some of the furniture out, you could say all the stuff with the pink tags is going, or the green tags are staying. However you want to set it up, but it's a way to give you a visual too, to see what you're willing to get rid of. And as you walk through the room, maybe you do it a month before you're ready to do it in case you change your mind. Take the sticker off and throw it away. Put another one on. So it's not a full commitment yet, but you're starting to think, I might be able to get rid of these things.
And we all have things that we could get rid of. We in our own house, there are plenty of things that we could get rid of. I have on the wall of the garage, I have a chain binder. Why do I have a chain binder? I don't know. Do I need to move a piece of equipment that I need to bind up a chain with? But there it is. It's on the wall. We did make, because you gave, that's right.
And he feels bad getting rid of it.
I'm going to give it back to you. That's right. But it's emotional as well to release things like that, and we do it as well. We made a decision earlier this year to thin the herd, as we call it, of some of the cars that we own, and had to release it and let it go and be at peace with it. As it got rolled up onto the ramp truck and down the road it went. I'm still working through it. All right. A little bit of therapy, but that's when people, we're talking about, everyone's very similar. They have things that they just can't release or having trouble releasing. So. Right. Why? Exactly. Yep.
It's hard.
This is a great example, to keep or throw away and everything's good. She's so peaceful. That's good. All right. Any questions about anything we've gone over so far? Because here comes the fun part. So Kelly and I oftentimes say that a lot of people are really great with suggestions. They'll tell you what they think you should do. We provide solutions. So here's the solution. Some solutions. Where does it all go? We have a few different categories here. Let's first talk about clothing. And this is really specific to our area right here. There's a couple of different ways to go about this. If you have some high-end clothing on hangers, consignment's a great way to clean that closet out. Upscale consignment in Leominster, Southern Daisy's boutique in Leominster, Belladonna in Leominster, Dress for Success in Worcester takes high-end clothing that they donate to young professionals that are either can't afford interview clothing and attire and that kind of thing.
This sometimes can be like if you have a nice wool coat, or you have a suit or a nice dress that you wore at a wedding. A lot of times they'll take those items. Certain times of the year they don't take off-season things, but timing it wise, there's always somebody that can use some of those items. And it's nice to be able to donate directly to an organization that can, especially the Dress for Success, that someone's going to use it right away versus just putting it in one of the yellow bins. But that's often a good option because you can just get rid of it today. Dress for Success, you usually have to make an appointment to drop things off for them. But
if you have other items that aren't necessarily appropriate for consignment, donations. And typically we say, clean, gently worn, usable clothing, shoes, those kinds of things. But what we understand is, as well, is that a lot of these organizations, what they're doing is they're sorting what is usable and not, and actually selling it, by the pound. So they're, it's a business. So if you do have something torn or stained, you can put those in those bins as well, to get them out of your home. So we've seen them all. They're Planet Aid is one of them. Catholic Charities, the white and blue bins. Salvation Army will take clothing as well. You can drop off. Pink Flamingo Recycling, we've seen those recently. Ginny's Helping Hand right here in Leominster will take clothing as well. So those are all really great places, and we utilize all these ourselves.
And this time of year, it's good to start thinking about winter coats. If you have a ton of winter coats, and I used to have a lot in my closet and would always wear just the same one or two. Now they're starting a lot of coat drives in the area, and people can start, even though it's still really hot out, but it's going to get cold soon enough that people will start to need coats. So think of it as you're getting rid of something that you're not using, but you're helping somebody else who really needs a coat, or, that really will make a difference in their life if they have a warm jacket. So, trying to change your mindset as, oh, I'm getting rid of something I really loved or I spent a lot of money, but I'm helping somebody in the process. So it can make you feel better about it.
All right, let's talk about household items. Things like furniture, housewares, accessories. Cutiques in Leominster, it's great. And they take good items, and it's consignment. And you can either when the item gets sold, you can either receive credit to shop in the store to get something you might need. The credit goes a little bit further than the cash that they would give you, but they also give you cash when if your item sells. Gallery 56 in Clinton is a little more high end, not super high end, but larger furniture and those kinds of things. Fred's Auction in Fitchburg.
Also, Park Hill Auction. We do a lot of work with them, and they'll come pick it up and sell it as a lot. The downside of auction is it depends who's at the auction that night. You might get $30 for everything you brought, or you might get $3,000. I remember when my mother had died, our dad was moving into a condo, and the auction people came and took a bunch of stuff. And I went to the auction just to kind of went for. Bad mistake. Don't ever do it. Because I watched like a chaise lounge chair that was really nice. That was my mother's, sell for $5. And none of us had for it, but we really loved the chair, and she loved it. It was in their bedroom growing up. And it's hard to see your stuff go for $5. So it's better to just let them take it and let them sell it, and they'll send you a check for whatever bit you get. But if you're ready to let it go, let it go. Don't trace it and find out who bought it, because it comes with a lot of frustration, sadness, emotional stuff.
That's right. And then donation. We talked about rehoming things, furniture, housewares, bedding, dishes, small appliances, and usable. They're usable. Salvation Army will take them. Household goods in Acton. I was actually there this week, delivering a couch. They're fantastic. They'll help you unload your vehicle. They'll give you a receipt. And
they help hundreds of families every week and month who are either just starting out, some that have gotten out of prison or out of really bad domestic abuse situations, and they let them come in and shop for their new apartment. And so it's really nice, so they can walk through and pick out the pots and pans they want, the tablecloths or the napkins or pictures for the wall. And it makes them empowered, because they don't feel like they're just getting junk that's on the side of the road. They're actually getting nice items that people have donated, it's a wonderful program.
And it's extremely what they've been. They're actually celebrating their 35th year this year, and it was started by a couple in Acton
in their garage.
Out of their garage,
yeah,
because they saw a need. Restore in Billerica and Leominster, Savers in Worcester, Wheat Community Connections in Clinton as well. Takes furniture and small appliances, and then there's town-specific recycling centers. We're a little jealous of West Boylston, because they seem to have a really great, setup that you can bring, your usable things to this shed. You have one too? Yeah. Swap shop.
Swap shed. They're great.
Right. Yeah. And people that need it can go get it. So, okay. So that covers household items. Any questions about that? No? Okay.
Jenna, you have one?
Yep.
Yes. Right.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, we're Yeah,
Yeah.
we're familiar with those the similar sites in other places as well.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is different than Facebook Marketplace. What we find on Facebook Marketplace, you put a price, somebody says they're coming, they don't come. It's $20, they show up with $5 and they want $5 back. Like it's very frustrating. You do it for a couple times and then you just give up. But the buy nothing is great because people, it's free and they want it and they'll come get it. So thank you for bringing that up.
So we're going to talk a little bit about documents, photos, and books. In particular, books. We were helping a one family move, and there was she was a nurse, and she still had all of her nursing textbooks and everything like that, and she let them go. You know, she had been at a school about 15 years, so all the editions had changed anyway. And Kelly and I found a Bay State book drop off bin, and in they went, and they were gone. But your local library will also take, books as well, but you can check with them. We're big fans of digitizing photos. This company, Scan Cafe, will digitize your photos into a file for you. We've had a digital frame in our house for a little while now, and it's really kind of neat to see it scroll the photos, and they get updated as well. But not only new photos, but you could also scan in old photos. And there was someone that we had met at another assisted living that had, they were suggesting, people were finding it hard to get rid of their photo albums and those kind of things. And they use a company like Scan Cafe to put everything in a book, just that you can put it on the coffee table. And you can flip through that book, so you don't have all these photos and photo albums and they're falling out and those kinds of things. So that's a neat idea too. But there's digital ways to do it. But how to discard documents and photos, that's something that could be difficult. Oftentimes, a local bank or municipality or the senior center has shred days. The city of Leominster has shred days coming up later in November. Staples will shred as well, but there's a fee. They do it by the pound.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. I think it might be 19 cents a pound. You just bring your box in, put it on, they weigh it, and then you put it in this bin, and the Iron Mountain or some company comes and picks it up. But we've used this Shred Nations company when we had a client who had a ton of shredding, like boxes and boxes and boxes. So the truck comes to your driveway, and the guy loads the stuff onto it, and they have a little window in the truck so you can see it happening. It's shredding right in your driveway, so they're not driving off and the papers are flying out on the highway. They're really shredding them right there. And it was, I think, a $275 minimum, and that gave you so many boxes. And she had a lot, but she still had extra, so she got the neighbor to see if they wanted to bring stuff, and they brought 5 boxes over. So it was worth it, and it got done in like 30 minutes or less by the time everything got in. So that's a good way to get it all done in a day, and you're not loading boxes in your car and driving to Staples or driving to the bank or the senior center.
The local banks, they oftentimes will run this as a fundraiser as well for donations to the whatever charity that they're sponsoring, or supporting that particular, and it's a nominal donation that they're expecting. So, any questions about documents? Okay, good. Okay, we're moving on. Let's talk about electronics. That house that we went to recently, there's this great stereo system, but it's it's from the 80s. But what you do with those things as well, what you do with the microwave and the TV and the DVD and the VCR players, the computers, the old cell phones, the air conditioners. So again, oftentimes there'll be at the local DPW recycling events. Next one coming up in Leominster is on the 15th of November. There will be a shred truck there as well that day, in particular. Again, Staples, there's a fee. Best Buy will take TVs. There is a fee. Raw Material Recovery Corp in Gardner, we're big fans of. They're really reasonable with taking things. A lot of things.
Some things are $5. A lot of things are free.
Some things are free.
They take a lot.
Yep. Local high school sometimes has recycling days as well, but check with that. But also there's, we know of organizations and companies, that, for hire junk and trash removal, that they know where to dispose these things, these electronics, and they'll charge you a fee, but they'll also they'll take it for you. You're not loading something into your car or your truck. They're coming to your house and they're taking it away. So we have great relationships with a couple of companies that will do that. And it's kind of like 1-800 call junk in your point, and everybody gets all giddy and that kind of stuff. The guys we work with,
but more local people that aren't so much the franchise. Sometimes the franchises can be more expensive, so we work with some local people that we work with often and we trust, and they're reasonably priced and all of that. So
right, we trust them. They're on time, they're reasonable, and they know what they're doing. So when you hire someone to come in and move some furniture out of your house, you want a person that did it once or twice.
That's not taking your wall out as they're taking.
Right. I'm still impressed every time we hire a few different companies that they don't scrape a wall at all. I mean, they know what they're doing, and they've done this, and they take their time. So rather than having your neighbor come over, I'll help you with that, John, no problem, But all right, so that's electronics to do that. Any questions about that? So is there anything we didn't cover that you have a question about, possibly? Any stuff? I mean, scrap metal. I've been collecting brake rotors recently, so we gotta make a run to the scrap metal place. What's that?
Yeah, they're not. You save all this metal to try to get a few bucks, and it's not much when you do it. Yeah, old tools. I know.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I know.
We have had a great experience with a company out of Worcester that will come and take the tools and pay a fair price. So if there's bandsaws, chop saws, those kinds of things, they'll take it. But they'll also take the stuff that has very little value, and they'll take everything and they'll give a fair price.
Sometimes Habitat will take some tools because they do the Habitat build days. So if you have hammers, a lot of screwdrivers, things like that, they will take those items. But oftentimes, too, donations from businesses that will give them a box of 250 hammers, and they're all brand new and the lightweight one that everybody wants. So, it depends what you have, but they will take some of that. I think the place in Worcester is called the Tool Shed. Is that right? Yeah. So that's another option we've had good luck with.
Yeah, they'll.
Yes, all the baby food jars with the nails and the screws. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Any old house we go in, they have them on the ceiling in the workshop, and then you just unscrew it. But more than not, if you have an old house, you need one of those things that's in that jar, and you can't find it, and you go down cellar, and there it is. So there was a reason they saved them, and those kinds of things come in handy. Yeah,
I know, but there is down the street. There's a home improvement store. There's two of them that has everything you could possibly need. If I need it, I'm gonna go there and get it. Yeah. Maybe I'll pay for it again if I can't find where I saved it. But that's and it's a whole warehouse of things I'm really not even qualified to buy or use. Yet it's on the shelf. That's what blows me away. How come no one checks if I have an electrician license if I'm buying 50 feet of wire? I don't know. Anyway, that's a different seminar. So, a couple of resources to turn. We're a big a fan of this author, Jamie Novak. She's a professional author, a motivational speaker. Keep this, toss that, and it's a room by room advice of how to declutter, and it's an easy read. It's a practical.
Lots of pictures, and it kind of guides you through. And it helps if you try that 15-minute junk, go through a draw. She talks a little bit about that kind of system in there as well. So you can just pick a small section, and she tells you, what to look for. Tupperware or pots and pans that have the coating scraped off or the plastic starting to disintegrate. They say we eat the equivalent of a credit card a month of plastic in our bodies, and all those dishes that are scraped and they're really bad to cook in, to eat food off. You get those little particles. So if you notice that stuff, it's time to switch to glass containers, or to maybe get new pans that are aluminum, or don't have the coating that's peeling off. So those kinds of things are another whole level of safety in your home for your body, but it's a good time to look at your stuff and see, am I using stuff that's really past its life?
So where to turn for help? There's no time better than now to start. But if you got motivated and you wanted to start, just pace yourself. Like Kelly said, start small. Start with a drawer in the kitchen or a cabinet in the kitchen that needs some organizing and some decluttering. But then you gain momentum. That's what we find with people, that they get excited. Oh yeah, what's next? I'm gonna get the next thing. And ask for help. There's no need to be a hero. No one's giving out the trophy of the best declutterer. So we might come up with one, but ask for help. There's plenty of help out there. And give yourself some grace. It took years to accumulate all of these things, and it's not all going away tomorrow. I mean, it can, but what we find when this happens, we've worked with plenty of people in this, in these situations. We worked with one couple for about a year, and at first they were in a mindset of, these belongings have value. We paid good money for this dining room set. We paid good money for this. And so, they wanted to get money, the good money for them. And then they got to a point where it was getting closer to their move, and looking at things in a little bit of a different light, saying, well, this dining room set served us very, very well. We had some great dinners here. We had family around here. And that kind of thing. If someone else could use it and enjoy it as well, then that's really good. So they got to got to that stage, and then a little bit closer to the end, and when the tool guy came, actually this was kind of eye opening, and he gave a fair price for the tools. This gentleman was a hobbyist woodworker in his basement. He had a good shop set up, and he paid some good money for the tools that he had. And he was paid a fair price, but he had said to me, I said, how'd that feel? He said, I got to this about a month ago, that I am divorced from all these things. They served me. I used them. I enjoyed them. And if somebody else can use them, but even to the point of, even if someone else can't, he's releasing them to go wherever they needed to go. And some things would be thrown, they were trash. Because nobody wanted them, they wouldn't go anywhere, that kind of thing. But he went through that process of, at first thinking, we pay good money for this, we should get money, to, if someone can use it, they can have it, to, I don't need it anymore, and now it's in my either it's in my way, or it's causing me a stress and a stumbling block to be able to move forward.
And they moved to a really great assisted living community in Nashua, which is where they wanted to end up. And they had a 2-bedroom, beautiful apartment. And they still took a lot of their stuff, but it was really nice to work with them for the year and really help them make the decisions, ask the right questions of what to keep and what not to keep. And we did floor planning for them and, inventory of what they had. So they knew on move day, as we were packing everything leading up to the move, what was going, where exactly it was going to fit in the new space. So we weren't just showing up with a truckload of stuff and figuring out, oh, this doesn't fit here. I can't take this. And now you've got too much furniture. So it was a really nice, if they had to decide between this dresser and that dresser, which one did they want more, which one would be more functional, would serve their needs. And so they made all those decisions because they were in charge of the process. They planned a year in advance. It's when folks wait until the end, and now all of a sudden they have to move, and now someone else is coming in and making those decisions for you. And one quick story I'll share, because I always think of this. When I was working as an occupational therapist in a rehab center, a client had come in that had just had a stroke, And they went right from having the event at their home to the hospital, and then they were going to rehab. They only had the clothes that were on their back when the ambulance picked them up, and they asked their daughter, "Can you go home and get me some clothes for my therapy?" Because they needed to, start working out with the PT and the OT. And the daughter went and picked out some outfits and came back with the clothes. And the lady said, "Oh my God, I hate those clothes. Like, those pants don't fit me. That sweatshirt's really itchy. It's all, thing that she brought, she would I would never have packed that." But the daughter saw things she thought looked good in the closet. But it's an example of, you have stuff in your closet that you would never wear, that you don't even like. And so if someone had to go make those choices, what are they going to pack you? And if they could pull anything out of your closet and you would enjoy it, that's kind of the goal, to have everything in your closet fit or be close to fitting or comfortable. So try to keep that in mind as you go through things. If someone was packing for me for an overnight bag and they had free reign, would they pick out the right stuff? And
I wouldn't.
I still wouldn't too. I have things that I should get rid of. I think we all keep a little extra, or we think if we lose another 5 pounds or 10 pounds, we'll wear this or we'll wear that. Or if I gain 10 more pounds, I'm keeping those pants because they'll fit better. So we all have a little of that, but if you don't want to have a lot of that, so it makes it really hard to.
Right. Those are good examples.
Pack.
Good examples. So, on the other side of the coin, we're working with some families right now that didn't plan ahead, and now they've passed on and left this this project for a family member. Sure. And so, we're helping them with the process of that. And in one situation, having to actually catalog all the things that were left, so that the family can decide if they want anything, because that's what her will directed to happen. We all think that in the end, no one's going to want any of it, and it's going to have to be rehomed, and there might not be an estate sale. There might be, but it's all, just regular household things. And then a lot of things in the attic that maybe if they had kept them in a better condition, I think we're going to find some things that maybe someone wanted to keep, but now is either damaged because it's been in the attic and there's been mice and that kind of thing.
We have a family who has a father who was an illustrator for a magazine, a very kind of famous magazine, and all his artwork was up in the attic. And they kept saying, "Oh, we got to catalog this and take care. It's worth money." But it's been in the attic for so long that it's all warped and it's crinkled and it's fragile. So it's really sad when you have treasures that you think are being stored in your attic, but they're not properly stored. And then they're not worth sentimental to anybody or even value-wise because they haven't been taken care of. So to also keep that in mind, if there's things that are really important, to make sure that they're stored correctly so that they can be passed on or they can be, properly given to family members or sold or whatever.
Excellent. So that's about all we had. We hope we gave you some ideas. We hope we, gave you some strategies and that kind of thing. And also, if you need some help, we can certainly have that conversation. It's all starts with a conversation of how we might be able to assist. Either it's again, we're not giving people advice. We're coming up with solutions.
Yeah, it's hard when you're on different pages with your spouse or significant other. The best thing we can do is say to lead by example. So if they see you cleaning out your drawers or you're putting your laundry away in the same time they're in the bedroom and they notice, "Oh, your drawers are pretty neat and organized," or you say, "I'm bringing documents to Staples to shred today. Do you have anything you want me to take?" The first 2 or 3 times they may say no, but then after they notice your stuff's all cleaned out, they may say, "Oh yeah, I think I have a box this time," and they'll come around. And if you don't hound them, if you just kind of do your thing and let them watch you do it, then it becomes their idea. "Oh, I think I'm going to bring some stuff to shredding too now."
So next month will be our last seminar of this season. It's November 12th, strategies for staying safe and secure in your own home. Again, if you're deciding that's where you'd like to stay, we have some good strategies for that as well. And we'll see you again next month, and tell some friends. And we had a really great crowd, and we appreciate you coming. So we'll see you next month.
Thank you so much.